What does a rollerblading hottie in a pink thong bikini have in common with an Orthodox Jewish woman in a shadel? Nothing, unless you're talking about Baal.
What's a nice Jewish girl doing freebasing cocaine, clubbing till 6 a.m., and sleeping with strangers? How did that happen? I grew up in a typical New York, socially upwardly mobile Jewish family. My brother went to a private Jewish day school. He had a lavish bar mitzvah. My mother played mahjong every week. We always had beautiful new clothes, a brand new car, and we had a maid. I never had to make my bed or wash a dish. My parents always tried to work hard to make a better life for us than they had growing up poor in the Lower East Side. Although my parents were raised Orthodox, we grew up conservative, what I like to call bagels and lox Jews. We celebrated the three biggies, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Passover, and of course, Hanukkah. Fiddler on the Roof was constant background music in my house. Tradition, tradition! When I was 11 years old, I made my way down to Rabbi Tepper's office to say, I'm quitting Hebrew school. Why you quitting? It's boring. It's almost your bat mitzvah made though. You won't have a bat mitzvah. No presents. That's my motivation for going to Hebrew school? No thanks. You're going to regret this for the rest of your life. I knew I was Jewish, but the version of Judaism that I was raised on was meaningless. When I was 12, my father forced my brother and I out of the bed in the middle of the night to roam the streets looking for my mother and her new boyfriend. When he found them, he pulled her lover out of the back seat and he beat the shit out of him. Note to self, if you want to be with someone else, get a divorce and never, ever, ever do this to your kids. Right there and then, I decided I'm never getting married. My father, he invented road rage. I learned how to outmaneuver his backhand slap as he drove 90 miles an hour down the road, trying to mow down the idiot that just cut him off. Despite his raging anger, I always knew my father loved me. He bought a sailboat and he named it after me, the Bonnie Lynn. He taught me how to sail, how to harness the wind, and guide our boat across the eastern seaboard. We sailed to Montauk, Fire Island, Mystic Seaport, and Martha's Vineyard. Sometimes we would be caught in fog so thick I couldn't see past the ship's bow, where I stood watching out for other boats. No wind meant we had to motor, to listen carefully for the buoys so we didn't run aground. I felt scared and empowered at the same time. Sailing seemed to calm the angry beast inside my father. Sailing was a metaphor for my life, bobbing around in the middle of the ocean at the mercy of the wind and the waves. When storms raged, tossing us around, I felt so tiny and helpless. When the sea calmed, the sunrise brought a new day of smooth sailing, unbelievable freedom, and peace. The fog rolls in, hiding the danger lurking unseen until it's too late. On a clear, dark night, the light of the moon and a million stars, magical. Those sailing moments never seemed to last. Inevitably, somebody would kick the hornet's nest and unleash his fury. I wanted to get as far away from my parents as possible. The summer after I graduated high school, I took a trip to Europe by myself for 2 months. I came home and I left for college, a 10-hour drive from them. I eventually moved to California and continued my decidedly unconservative lifestyle. After 23 years of marriage, my mother finally divorced my father. She told me, "My prison sentence is over. I stayed with that son of a bitch until you were out of the house. My job is done." Professionally, I was very successful, but I was still searching for a deeper connection, for something more meaningful. I was a hottie, rollerblading from Venice Beach to Santa Monica in a pink thong bikini, and I had a string of love affairs that always ended in heartbreak. I thought being in love meant being in a relationship. When it ended, I was devastated. I just wanted to belong to someone, to feel safe, loved, but they never stuck around. I was so depressed. I didn't want to feel the pain anymore. One night, alone in the dark crying, I decided to end it all. I dumped out a bottle of pills. I poured a glass of water, and I wondered, how long would it take? As I contemplated my decision, a small voice inside my head said, "God decides when we're born, and it's up to Him when we leave." Suicide is against Jewish law. After moving to California in 1989, I went to a feminist for Brangen, and I met Olivia Schwartz, a Rebbitzin with a flaming red-haired shaitel. She was wearing a purple dress, hand-embroidered from India, and her tie-dyed finger-toed socks were poking out of her Birkenstocks. Being a free spirit myself, I felt an instant connection. As she spoke, my Jewish soul vibrated in tune with her message. I approached her after and I said, "I don't know who you are, I don't know where you came from, but I am never leaving you." At this moment, my whole life changed. Learning with Olivia every day was so exciting. My godly soul was on fire. I was feeling connected to people, my people, in a way I never knew existed. I began learning how to live an authentic Jewish life. Shabbos dinner every week was the nourishment I needed. Olivia and Rabbi Schwartzy called me their adopted teenage daughter, even though I was in my 30s. I was finally home. I went from Bonnie, my slave name, to Bela, my Hebrew name. Now, as I strike a match 18 minutes before sundown every Friday evening to light my Shabbos candles, I draw the light into my heart as I circle my hands 3 times over the flames and I cover my eyes. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav b'tzivanu lahaglit ner shel Shabbat Kodesh. The fire of my candles soar up to join the millions of other Shabbos flames as all of the Jewish women around the world are lighting Shabbos candles and usher in the Holy Sabbath, completing a ring of holy sparks connecting every Jewish home. I never imagined my life could be this way. I met my wonderful husband through a matchmaker, very Fiddler on the Roof. And we have a beautiful, sweet, amazing son. We built our home based on true Torah values. I have my family, my community, and a place where I belong, in a lifestyle that betrays my past. I look back on the life I once lived, and I sometimes wonder how I made it out alive. I know that my entire journey is part of God's plan. Everything I experience is a lesson to teach me to always be grateful, to appreciate what I have, and that my life has a higher purpose that only I can fulfill. I've learned that the glass isn't half empty or half full. The glass is full. Sometimes there's just stuff in it that you just don't like, and that's okay. Thank you.